What should I sell when it comes to digital products? It's one of the most common questions for beginners and also one of the main reasons that so many women stay stuck, because the way that we've been taught to answer it often leads to overthinking, second guessing, and just going around in circles. So today I want to walk you through a simple framework for choosing what to sell. One that doesn't require you to follow trends, copy what everyone else is doing, or spend months trying to figure it out. Just a clear, calm starting point for creating your first digital product in a way that fits the life that you're building. Now, if you've been trying to figure out what you should sell, you probably come across advice like finding a gap in the market, or looking at what's trending, or researching what people are already buying. And while there is a place for that, it can very quickly pull you into overthinking, especially at the beginning, because it sends your focus outwards before you've really grounded yourself in what you want to build and who you want to serve. And for many people, the issue isn't that they have absolutely no ideas at all. It's that they have maybe too many directions that they could go in and no clear way of deciding which one actually makes sense to turn into something that they can confidently sell. So they stay stuck in this in-between place, kind of circling the question, opening more tabs, watching more videos, and somehow ending up with less clarity than when they started. Now, what tends to help is not more ideas, but a simple way of filtering those ideas so that you can move from what should I sell to something that feels clear, aligned, and doable. And that's exactly what I teach more fully inside my Plan to Profit system, which is all about turning one idea into something that they can actually grow into a business that feels calm, sustainable, and aligned with your priorities. But for today, I just want to give you a simple version of that process so that you can start making a decision now. So the first place to start when you're asking what should I sell is not with the product itself, but with two things that need to work together: who you want to help and what you already know that could help them. Because it is possible to start with a product idea first, but even then, it's still important to ask yourself whether the person who would need that product is actually someone you want to build a business around serving. That alignment matters more than people often realize, because this isn't just about making one sale. It's about building something that you can sustain and actually enjoy. So instead of trying to come up with something impressive, I want you to think about someone you genuinely wouldn't mind helping on a regular basis. That might be a version of you from a few years ago, or someone you know who is currently navigating something that you've already worked through. And then from there, you simply ask, what have I already figured out that could make this easier for them? Not in a polished professional sense necessarily, but in a real lived sense. What have you learned through experience? What have you simplified, improved, or worked through in your own life? Something you already understand well enough that you could guide someone else through it without needing to go away and study for 6 months first. Now, once you have that person in mind, the next step in deciding what you should sell is to get clear on what they actually are trying to achieve and what is getting in their way. Because people don't buy products randomly. They buy them because they want a specific result. So that might be something like wanting to feel less overwhelmed, wanting a more consistent routine, wanting to earn from home, or wanting to grow in their faith in a more structured way. Whatever it is. And then the second part of that is asking what is stopping them from getting there already. Is it lack of time? Is it too many options? Is it confusion? Or is it simply not having a clear next step? When you understand both the result that they want and the problem that's in the way, it becomes much easier to answer the question of what you should sell, because you're no longer guessing, you are responding to something that is real. And if you're unsure, one simple way to explore this is to ask. So you could have a conversation, or even just pose a question in a Facebook group or a forum, like, what would help you most with this topic right now? But what you'll often find is that people don't actually know exactly what they need, which can be slightly unhelpful. So another approach is to suggest something specific and simply ask if that would be helpful. That way you're not putting all the pressure on them to come up with the answer. You're giving them something to react to, which is usually much easier and tends to give you clearer feedback. Now, once you have that clarity, we come back to the original question, what should you actually sell? And this is where it's important to be clear that we are talking about something that you can sell, not just something that you give away for free. Because while free resources have their place, you don't want to be spending your time creating random things that aren't connected to a bigger direction or building a collection of very nice PDFs that no one remembers downloading. What you're aiming for instead is something simple but intentional, something that could become part of a wider business over time. And the simplest way to do that, especially at the beginning, is to create a small focused mini course. Not something long or complicated, but something that helps your person solve one specific problem and move a step closer to the result that they actually want. Now, this could be less than an hour of content. It might be a talking head video or a screen share. It could be a simple slideshow presentation or even an audio style training. The format itself doesn't really matter as much as the clarity of the outcome, because you're not trying to teach everything. You're helping them take one clear, useful step forward. So just to make this a little more concrete, here are a couple of simple examples of what this might look like in practice. So if someone has a background in fitness, rather than trying to build a full program, they might create a short mini course that helps busy professionals build a realistic 15-minute daily routine they can actually maintain. Or if someone has worked through challenges in their marriage and learned how to communicate more clearly, they might create a simple training that helps couples have more calm, productive conversations without things escalating. In each case, the pattern is the same. It's not about creating something big or complex. It's about identifying one specific result, one real problem, and offering a simple solution that helps someone move forward. And before you create it fully, you have a couple of simple options to make sure that it is something that's worth selling. One option is to share the idea and see who responds. As I mentioned earlier, if people raise their hand, those are the exact people that you can go back to when it's ready. Another option, which can be even more helpful, is to run a simple live beta version. You could invite a small group of people to go through it with you live or in a more informal format and then gather feedback as you go. That way, you're not just guessing what should be included. You are shaping it around what actually helps them. And then you can refine it into a more polished version afterwards. Now, if you prefer to create it up front, that is absolutely fine as well. Just keep in mind that your first version doesn't need to be perfect. It can evolve as you learn what people need most, which it almost always will. And if you'd like help walking through this more step by step, from deciding what you should sell to shaping it into a simple offer like this, and then growing it into something more sustainable that fits your priorities, that is exactly what I guide you through inside my Plan to Profit system. I'm going to leave a link below so that you can explore that when you are ready. So when you come back to that question, what should I sell? I want you to remember that the answer is usually much simpler than it feels at the beginning. It's not about finding something perfect or impressive or completely original. It's about choosing something that is genuinely helpful for someone that you actually want to serve based on what you already understand and packaging that into a simple starting point. Because that one small offer isn't just a product. It's the beginning of something that you can build on. It can grow into more resources, deeper support, and eventually a business model that feels stable and aligned with your life rather than overwhelming it. And if you are ready for the next step, actually turning that into something real, the next video that I would recommend watching is how to start your first digital product this week without overthinking. And that will be coming up soon if it's not already. And that will walk you through how to take what you've decided here and actually create it without getting stuck in perfectionism. So if you've been stuck trying to figure this out, I hope that this has given you a clearer and more peaceful way to move forward, and I will see you in the next one.